In the quiet, tree-lined streets of Cedarwood, a community built on faith and fellowship, the Reverend Elijah Vance was a pillar. His booming voice echoed through the hallowed halls of the New Hope Baptist Church, his sermons a balm to weary souls. He preached salvation, redemption, and the sanctity of family. But beneath the polished veneer of stained glass windows and fervent hymns, a chilling secret festered, a darkness that would ultimately consume both the shepherd and his most vulnerable lamb. This is the story of Sarah Vance, a daughter bound by an unspeakable past, who at 25 finally broke free, leaving a trail of shattered illusions and a community grappling with an unimaginable truth. For years, the congregation adored Reverend Vance. He was charismatic, a natural leader, and his daughter, Sarah, was often by his side, a quiet, graceful presence. From the outside, their bond appeared unbreakable, a testament to the Reverend's teachings. But the truth, as it often does, lay buried beneath layers of carefully constructed piety and fear. Sarah's earliest memories were steeped in the rich scent of old hymnals and her father's authoritative voice. He was her world, her protector, her guide, or so she believed. The subtle shifts began when she was small, innocent touches that felt wrong, lingering gazes that made her skin crawl. She was too young to name the feeling, only to know it was a secret, something she instinctively knew she could not share. Elijah's study. Sarah, around 10, is helping him organize books. He stands too close. Elijah's voice, smooth, almost hypnotic. My little angel, always so helpful. You are a gift from God, Sarah, my special blessing. Sarah, small voice, thank you, Papa. The words were sweet, but the underlying current was bitter. As Sarah grew, the boundaries blurred, then shattered. The special blessings became private rituals, hidden behind locked doors, cloaked in scripture and veiled threats. Elijah Vance, the man who spoke of light, was a master of darkness within his own home. Sarah, now 14, sitting alone in her room, staring out the window. Her expression is haunted, withdrawn. The vibrant girl slowly faded, replaced by a shadow. Her laughter grew scarce, her eyes held a distant sadness. The community noticed, of course. They attributed it to the burdens of being a pastor's daughter, the weight of expectation. No one dared to imagine the true weight she carried. Sarah and her best friend Maya, around 15. They are in Maya's bedroom. Maya, Sarah, you seem so far away lately. Is everything all right at home? Your dad, he's intense. Sarah, looking down, picking at a loose thread on her jeans. It's fine, Maya. Just a lot of church stuff. He needs me to be strong. Maya, strong for what though? You look tired. Like you're carrying the whole world. Sarah, a voice barely a whisper, some burdens you just carry alone. The silence of the community was not malicious, but born of an inability to see beyond the facade. Who would suspect the Reverend Elijah Vance, a man so revered, of such depravity? The announcement stunned Cedarwood. Reverend Vance, a widower for over a decade, was to marry, and his bride his own daughter, Sarah. The whispers began hushed and confused. It's unconventional, some said. A spiritual union. Others rationalized. He's taking care of her, the most charitable offered. No one spoke the unspeakable. Two church elders, Sister Agnes and Deacon Jones, outside the church after the wedding announcement. Sister Agnes says, Deacon Jones, I don't understand. His own flesh and blood. Is this right in the eyes of the Lord? Deacon Jones, clearing his throat uncomfortable, replied Sister Agnes, the Reverend is a man of God. He says it's a divine calling, to protect and guide his daughter always. A spiritual bond, he called it. Who are we to question God's will, as interpreted by our shepherd? Sister Agnes, shaking her head slowly, my heart aches for that child. She looks like a ghost. Sarah walked down the aisle not as a blushing bride, but as a sacrifice. Her eyes, empty of light, met no one's gaze. She moved through the ceremony like a puppet. Her hand in her father's, now her husband's. The vows were a chilling echo of the private torment she had endured for years. On their wedding night, Sarah is alone in a room, dressed in a simple nightgown, sitting on the edge of the bed, trembling. The door opens, and Elijah enters, a predatory calm in his eyes. Elijah softly, menacingly, "My wife, my blessing, now, truly mine, forever. 7 years. 7 years of this unholy union. Sarah." Now Mrs. Vance lived a double life. By day, she was the dutiful pastor's wife, hosting Bible studies, organizing church events, her smile a practiced mask. By night, she was a prisoner, her spirit slowly suffocating under the weight of her husband's control and cruelty. The mask began to crack. The quiet despair hardened into a cold resolve. She had nowhere to go, no one to tell. The community was blind, or perhaps willfully ignorant, but Sarah was no longer a child. She was a woman, and the instinct for survival, long dormant, began to stir. Sarah, now 25. Her face is gaunt, but there is a new, steely glint in her eyes. The house feels oppressive. The weight of her existence became unbearable. Each day was a repetition of the last, a slow, agonizing death of her soul. The thought of escape, once a fleeting fantasy, became a meticulous plan. She studied her husband's habits, his vulnerabilities. The fear was still present, a constant companion, but now it was overshadowed by a burning desire for freedom. Elijah and Sarah at the dinner table. Elijah is pontificating, Sarah is silent. Elijah then says, "Sarah, you seem distracted. Is your faith wavering, my dear? I pray you are not forgetting your duties, your sacred vows." Sarah, with her voice flat, devoid of emotion, "My duties are clear, Elijah. My vows are understood." Elijah, with a slight frown, sensing her distance, "Good. Remember, I am your shepherd. I will guide you. I will protect you. You are nothing without my guidance." Sarah, with a flicker of something in her eyes, she says, "I understand." The night of the murder was like any other. A quiet evening in the pastor's home. The air is thick with unspoken tension. Elijah, perhaps feeling her growing detachment, was particularly cruel, his words sharp, his presence suffocating. The living room, late at night. Elijah is seated in his armchair reading. Sarah approaches him, a look of grim determination on her face. She picks up the heavy, ornate candlestick from a nearby table. The candlestick, a gift from the congregation, heavy and solid, became the instrument of her liberation. There was no hesitation, no second thought, only the desperate primal need to end the nightmare. A quick, blurred shot of the candlestick being raised, then the sound of a dull thud. The scene immediately cuts back to the opening shot, Elijah's body. Sarah standing over him, the Bible clutched in her hand, and then silence. A profound, terrifying, liberating silence. The 911 call was made by Sarah herself, her voice eerily calm, stating that her husband, Reverend Elijah Vance, was dead. The news ripped through Cedarwood like wildfire. The beloved pastor, gone, shock, grief, and a morbid curiosity gripped the community. Police cars and flashing lights outside the Vance residence. Detectives Miller and Hayes, seasoned and wary, enter the house. Detective Miller and Detective Hayes surveying the scene. Detective Miller, no forced entry, no signs of struggle. Looks like he was hit from behind clean. Detective Hayes, the wife, called it in. Sarah Vance. She's in the kitchen, calm as you please. Too calm, maybe. Sarah is being interviewed in the living room by Detective Miller. She sits composed, but her eyes betray a deep exhaustion. Detective Miller, Mrs. Vance, can you tell us what happened tonight? Sarah, voice steady, I was in my room. I heard a noise. When I came down, he was like this. I called for help. Detective Miller, did you see anyone? Anyone at all, leaving the house? Sarah, no. The doors were locked. I don't know how anyone could have gotten in. The initial investigation yielded little. Sarah's story was plausible, if a little too perfect. The community mourned, speculating about a robbery gone wrong. A disgruntled former parishioner. No one suspected the quiet, devoted wife. A neighbor, Mrs. Jenkins, approaches Detective Hayes outside the house, looking nervous. Mrs. Jenkins, detective, I saw something last night, a car, parked down the street, lights off. It was Reverend Vance's nephew, Thomas. He's always had a rocky relationship with the Reverend. Said he owed him money. The focus shifted. Thomas Vance, the Reverend's estranged nephew, became the prime suspect. He had a history of petty crime, a known animosity towards his uncle, and a flimsy alibi. The community breathed a collective sigh of relief. The narrative of a simple robbery or a family dispute was far easier to digest than the alternative. Thomas Vance being interrogated, looking distraught and confused. "Thomas, I didn't do it. I swear, I was just driving by. I saw the lights. I got scared and left. I didn't want to get involved." But Detective Miller, a man with a keen eye for detail and a gut feeling that something was amiss, kept returning to Sarah. Her composure, her lack of overt grief, the subtle way she avoided eye contact when discussing her husband's character. Visual. Detective Miller looking at photos of the crime scene, then at a photo of Sarah and Elijah from their wedding. He notices Sarah's empty eyes. Detective Miller. To Hayes, something's off with her. She's too serene, like a weight has been lifted. Detective Miller began to dig deeper into the Vance family history, beyond the public farce aid. He spoke to former church members, old neighbors, anyone who might offer a glimpse behind the stained glass curtain. He started noticing a pattern: Sarah's increasing isolation, the sudden, hushed marriage, the way people quickly changed the subject when her name came up in relation to her father. Detective Miller interviews Sister Agnes again, privately. Detective Miller: Sister Agnes, you knew Sarah Vance for a long time. Can you tell me about her relationship with her father before the marriage? Sister Agnes. Hesitantly, Reverend Vance was very protective of Sarah. She was always by his side, a quiet child. After her mother passed, he became her whole world. Detective: and after the marriage, how did she seem then? Agnes, her voice lowering, she seemed diminished. Like a light had gone out. We all tried to understand. It was unusual. But the Reverend, he had such a way with words. He convinced us it was God's plan. The true horror began to unfold with the discovery of Sarah's hidden diary. Years of silent suffering, meticulously documented in trembling handwriting. The abuse, the control, the manipulation, all laid bare. The entries detailed the special blessings, the fear, the forced marriage, the desperate pleas for an end to her torment. Detective Sarah, we found this, your diary. Sarah, sobbing, voice raw. Hey, he made me. He said God commanded it. He said I was his always. The dam broke. Sarah confessed, not with defiance, but with a profound, wary relief. She recounted the years of abuse, the psychological torture, the inescapable prison her life had become. She described the night of the murder, not as an act of rage, but as an act of desperate self-preservation. Sarah, I couldn't live like that anymore. Every day was a living hell. He took everything from me, my childhood, my innocence, my future. I just wanted it to stop. I just wanted to be free. The community of Cedarwood was shattered. The man they had revered, the shepherd who led their flock, was a monster. The truth was a bitter pill, forcing them to confront their own blindness, their own complicity in the silence. The trial of Sarah Vance became a media sensation, but more importantly, a crucible for Cedarwood. The prosecution argued premeditated murder. The defense, led by a compassionate public defender, presented Sarah's harrowing story of abuse, painting a picture of a woman driven to an extreme act by years of unimaginable torment. During the trial, Sarah on the stand, recounting her story, her voice trembling but clear. Prosecutor: Mrs. Vance, you admit to striking the deceased with the candlestick. Is that correct? Sarah, voice stronger now, looking directly at the jury. Yes, I did. He was going to hurt me again. I couldn't let him. Not anymore. Defense attorney: Sarah, can you tell the court about the nature of your relationship with your father, Reverend Vance? Sarah, tears falling, but her gaze firm. He was my father, and then he made himself my husband. He abused me, physically, emotionally, for years. Since I was a child, he used the Bible, he used God, to control me, to make me believe I deserved it. The courtroom was hushed. The community members present shifted uneasily. Some wept, others looked away, unable to face the reflection of their own denial. The trial was not just about Sarah's guilt or innocence, but about the collective responsibility to protect the vulnerable, to question the unquestionable. The verdict was not simple. Sarah Vance was found guilty of a lesser charge, manslaughter, in an act of self-defense after years of documented abuse. She received a sentence that acknowledged both the gravity of her act and the profound trauma she had endured. If this story has resonated with you, please take a moment to like this video. Your support helps us bring more important stories to light. And don't forget to comment below with your thoughts on how communities can better protect their most vulnerable members. Sarah Vance's story is a tragic testament to the insidious nature of abuse, particularly when cloaked in authority and trust. It forces us to look beyond appearances, to listen to the whispers, and to question the narratives that serve to protect the powerful at the expense of the innocent.